The Pulse of Spokane is a broad show that showcases many different things in our community, sponsored by Local 29 Firefighters Union, Well Dressed Walrus, and Homes for You.
Well, welcome into another remote edition of the Pulse of Spokane. I'm joined now with Lance Kissler, Associate Vice President of Marketing and Communications. Did I get that right, Lance?
That's right.
All right, awesome. Off to a great start. Just want to start out, it's kind of inescapable, but how are you doing? How are you staying sane and holding up with everything going on?
Well, I'm doing all right. I've been teleworking for almost 2 weeks now, and just
Oh,
kind
wow.
of changing my routine and adapting to a situation just as much as everyone else is out there. And I have a personal assistant who's a little bit more personal than he is assistant. It's my puppy. So if you
Oh,
hear
there
a
you go.
bark or
Perfect.
something, that's him letting me know that some new email has come in or something. So. Anyway, but thank you for having me on. I appreciate you inviting me to
Yeah,
participate today.
absolutely. No, it's really good to see and interact with other faces. Yeah, especially having been stuck at home, and yeah, so it's good to see fresh faces and be able to
Yeah,
converse and everything. Outside of what your illustrious title indicates about your role at Eastern Washington,
yeah.
dive in a little bit more about what that entails and the work that you do.
Yeah, so we actually started preparing for this back at the end of January. I went back and looked in my email inbox to see when we first kind of started talking about this. And I remember an email coming in about this coronavirus. And, at the time, there wasn't talk about a pandemic or kind of the large scale
Right.
impacts that we're seeing today. It was more of, we need to get information out to people about washing their hands and taking these extra precautions. And that rapidly evolved into where we are today. And so I'm really proud of the team that we have, not just in marketing communications, but across campus that came together and put together a really robust set of FAQs for all of our campus community members, initiated kind of a response plan, and really put things into effect to not only respond to the needs, but then begin moving into that. What are the new proactive measures that we need to implement across campus to really support everyone? So, yeah, we've been busy for months, and during that time, had a transition to teleworking, and so it's been an interesting experience. This is something I haven't dealt with before. So.
Yeah, I think fortunately everybody, just about everybody on the face of the planet that's still alive, I think has not come across or had to endure something like this. But it is always incredible to see when we're backed into a corner as a society, how we respond and all the great work that people do. And I don't know, you see it across the community, and there are so many people stepping up in so many different ways. It's really great to see. Kind of piggybacking off your last comment, but what are some of the proactive measures and things that you guys are recommending that
Yeah.
people do?
Sure. So first, I want to thank all those people who are out there, our first responders, and those who are on the front
Absolutely.
lines that are making the difficult decisions and having to spend time away from their families or whatever it is that they're doing to really fight this head on. I want to thank and acknowledge them for what they're doing for all of us, whether we see it or not.
Right.
So some of the things that what we first started with was how do we handle the end of winter term. So we're in a unique
Okay.
situation where we have both quarter and semester programs. So some universities have just one or the other. We have both. And so we really kind of had to navigate that. And so the big thing, oh, there goes my sign.
There you go.
um, it's not another earthquake, I don't think. So
Yeah, who
the big
knows?
thing we had to figure out was how are we going to address the immediate needs, which was the end of the quarter for winter quarter. And that involved making some changes to finals and moving those online so that we could really get students away from one another and other campus community members to practice the social distancing aspect. So that was kind of the first step that we took. And that was a big jump for everyone because you're
Yeah.
asking people to change midstream. The second piece to that then was, well, what does spring look like? Not just for spring quarter, but also our spring semester, who they were already in this mode of having these classes, these interpersonal classes. And now, after coming back from spring break, they're going to have to move to switch from being in person to being online. Whereas, so those classes were already happening versus our winter quarter and spring quarter where you're starting new classes. So those have been some challenges for us to navigate. But it really was around, okay, we need to move this to asynchronous, meaning that they can meet online anytime, really providing flexibility for students. I think one thing we need to keep in mind is that people's lives have been impacted in a multitude of ways and in different formats for everyone. And so when I've talked to students, there are some who have been called out to help volunteer or to participate in the National Guard. They're working odd hours because their businesses have had to adapt. So the traditional environment that we've been in has changed. And so students who signed up for a course that runs from this time to this time on certain days of the week, it's quite possible now that they're having to provide childcare during that time. They're having to volunteer, they're having to work. All of our lives have been interrupted, schedules have changed. And so we need to be flexible and adapt to that. So that's one of the big things about moving courses online.
Yeah, that's absolutely something that we should all try to be cognizant of, because we ourselves are, having to deal with those very same changes that everybody else is. Are there any positives, as you guys have kind of been in the middle of this mayhem, that you think you can apply going forward in terms of maybe how you've had to change your approach or your execution of getting some of the information across? Are there things in the future that you think will be attacked differently just because of what you guys have experienced throughout this?
Well, in terms of if we were to face another pandemic or incident like this in the future, I think we've learned a lot. So I think that's one thing that we now kind of have a playbook that we can use in the future. You can do all that you want around crisis planning and emergency response plans, but it isn't until you actually get into the thick of it that you really can execute those tactics and really adjust them based upon the situation that you're in. So, we go through active shooter drills and other scenarios that are awful situations that we hope we never have to be in. But those are a little bit easier to, and when I say easy, I mean, unfortunately, because those events have transpired, there's robust training around them. We have a good sense of what does it mean when one of those things happens. Something like this, we haven't really experienced like it, and it has so many nuances to it that we're really all navigating it as we move forward. So hopefully moving forward, some of the things we'll be able to do is kind of more quickly adjust to the environment. So the online thing, for example, moving courses online, there are many faculty members who haven't taught a course online before. There's many students who have not taken a course online before. I think that we'll all be better prepared to do something like that in the future. And in fact, it'll be interesting to see, do we actually have a bit of a paradigm shift where we have more courses offered online? Obviously, we already have institutions out there that are fully online. But for us traditional kind of brick and mortar colleges and universities, what is this going to do for us in the future? I think it'll be interesting to see how we also now have an upcoming workforce, and even our current workforce that now has this new skill set of working remotely, collaborating via video conferencing. Yes, there's companies that do that out there already, but you kind of choose to be in that industry or you learn about it and you're not really prepped for it in college, or you aren't really forced to adapt. That's what's really interesting about this, is that many of us are being forced to adapt to this situation. So this will bring some interesting new skill sets to how we operate in the work environment moving forward. So I think that's something for us to kind of keep an eye on in the future.
Certainly. And I mean, I think, as a society and humanity as a whole, we can all use this going forward when it hopefully does end soon. And use our lessons and actually apply them going forward. So we can be a little bit more adaptable and ready for whatever it might be. I just want to thank you for taking the time to come on. You made a lot of good points and there's a lot of good information. It's good to hear that you guys have been able to adjust as well as you have been. Stay safe out there, be well, and hopefully we'll be able to talk to you again soon.
Yeah, sounds great. Thank you for having me here.
Thanks, Lance.
National Barricade and Sign Company is a well-established company founded in 1957. National Barricade has become a well-known business in the Spokane Valley for more than 50 years. Over the years, we have built long-lasting relationships with many cities, counties, and their departments of transportation. Customers come to us because they know they are going to get the best quality service at the best possible price. National Barricade prides itself on getting the job done in a timely manner. We know that contractors must have certain items in a timely fashion to get their job done, and if we don't have it, we will get it. We guarantee fast service no matter how long it takes.
Join us at Paint Night, where you release your inner artist, hosting events in Spokane and surrounding areas. We are the party on wheels and can come to your choice of locations. We specialize in private events, corporate team building, and fundraisers. We are the original Paint Night and want you to join in the fun. Check us out at www.paintnight.com, and we always offer $10 off with the code SPOKANE10.
Thanks for watching. Ask the host a question, recommend a guest, or check out any of our other programs on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or SpokaneTalksMedia.com. Sponsored by Local 29 Firefighters Union, Well Dressed Walrus, and Homes for You.